if he is going to evolve things, Richard, it doesn't really look like it from the team sheet, because it's very similar from the team that started the World Cup quarter-final against France. Now, Calvin Phillips comes in to the midfield in place of Jordan Henderson, despite only starting a couple of cup games all season for Manchester City, and Jack Grealish gets rewarded for his club form. He's picked ahead of Foden. Otherwise, it's same old, same old. Yeah,
I think the fact that Calvin Phillips comes back in, it shows the trust that the manager has in him, and the necessity to pick a side which is defensively solid all the time. I think when you've got Maguire and Stones, you need two sort of solid number sixes, and he's gone for that again. I think for England to really progress, to be a difference, there needs to be a release, a little bit more of a bravery to go and play games. I think in the World Cup against France, they had the opportunity to go and beat them, and they take a step backwards and end up losing the game. The attacking players that England have got, it should be enough to go and win most matches, but they just need to be that little bit braver when they're out on the pitch.
You've been regularly a bit of a critic of Southgate for that very reason, Damien. I mean, like, to be fair, some people said actually that they did have a bit of a go in the World Cup. You know, they scored 6 goals in one game, a couple of games they scored 3 in as well. You know, that maybe the criticism was a bit unfair.
But the criticism you'd have of him is it's in the big games like tonight, you know, and then in the big games in the World Cup and the European Championships, like when you're going to Italy away from home, can you go with one number 6 and 2 number 8s? It's just that he always seems to cover up and go into 2 number 6s, you know, that's 6 defensive players and 4 attacking. We saw games where he had like maybe 8 defensive players, remember, in the Euros previously. Like, he has a tendency to cover up as opposed to going to Italy and saying, we're England, we can go there, like France. Would you think France would go and pick a defensive team? They'd go there, pick an attacking team, reasonably attacking, you know, not all out gung-ho, but they'd say, no, I'm not going to go there and hit you in the counter-attack. We're France, we're going to establish our dominance, and we're going to see if we have enough to beat us. And I never get that feeling from Gareth Southgate. He just always seems to have one eye on, what if Italy start well, you know, we'll try and get to 60 minutes at 0-0, and then I'll spring a few players from the bench.
And Harry Maguire, we saw pictures of him there, he lines out again, only started 5 Premier League games for Manchester United all season. I know we were on air with the Europa League when the squad was announced, and you couldn't believe he's sticking by him.
Part of the evolution, I thought, for England was the fact that if you get someone like Tomori, who's playing regularly at AC Milan, you know, a prototype modern centre-back, mobile, OK in 1v1, comfortable when he's got spaces around him, doesn't mind being caught in a foot race with people, that would free up one midfield player to go and join in and give England more of an attacking impetus. But when you play Harry Maguire, you have to play with 2 number 6s in front of you to protect him, because he hasn't got the mobility to cover the grass. So I was hoping that when Gareth Southgate was humming and hawing about whether he'd stay on in the England job, he said, you know, I'm going to stay on, but I'm going to move it on now.
Really change things.
But he has the options. He has Mark Guay, who's playing really well for Crystal Palace. I know Crystal Palace season isn't going great, but he's doing really well. You have Tomori. You have modern-day centre-backs.
And I suppose other players are looking at it going like he's not playing and he's still getting his game. Overall, Damien, or Richard rather, do you think there comes a time when people look at Southgate and they say, like, he's been great, he seems like a great fella, but can he really take England any further than he's already done in what, it'll be 7 years, I think, by the end of this campaign?
Yeah, he's taken them a lot further than other managers have, though, so they're probably happy with what he's done so far. I just think, like that, choosing the centre-halves, always choosing Maguire, always choosing Stones, people like that, and not the new generation coming through. It's that risk factor. You need to take a risk, give them the opportunity to play games and see where they are. He just is so stuck in his ways that England will always probably come up short because they don't just have that extra little bit to go and win a tournament. I think when you look at France in the World Cup and they have that little bit more when they need it. They can add it. They've got those special players who really take it upon themselves.
Just little moments in games.
Yeah, and England are good. They're a decent side to watch, and they can score goals. But like Damien's saying, it's all right winning the games 6 and 3, but it's the big games. It's the 0-0s, the 1-0s against, I think it was the US in the World Cup. They didn't go and try and win the game. They're happy, and they've got too good of a squad to be just happy to see games out at times.